the Warhammer Quest Adventurers Guild tutorial on how to use and the explanation of our Discord server. Rather than a long introduction, let's just dive right into it. First, over on the top left over here is our welcome channel. It gives you a little bit of info about what we're trying to do here. We also have a welcome video that should be posted on the guide or the guild info videos. Right now, of course, we have the welcome video, we have the one I'm doing now, and you should expect several more to come in the future on the mod, on hosting games, on creating your characters, etc. One for new players, one for more advanced players, and how to layer in the rules for advanced play. Then, in addition to that, we have our server guidelines. Basically, everybody just think PG-13. Cuss words here and there are okay, but again, just PG-13. Keep it light. Nothing gratuitous. Rules for the games. This is the rules. We want to keep the rules as Warhammer Quest as possible. I don't want a whole bunch of house rules. We want to keep the game as close to the original as possible. The only real changes rules-wise are implementing some variations that will enable the game to work within the guild framework. So, in other words, you go to a dungeon, you get out of a dungeon, you go to a village, town, or city. From there, the guild will arrange for your safe travel back to the guild, which acts as another location. Plus, you'll be able to do that, which I'll go into detail on another video, but you do not have to keep the group together once you're out of the dungeon. You'll be able to go to travel and to go to settlements and to go to the guild basically by yourself. Main reason for that is games can take 4 to 5 hours, sometimes 6 hours if that wizard is rolling a 1. On the and the objective room, you just don't seem like you're ever going to get out of there. And sometimes people don't have enough time. They dedicated the 4 or 5 hours, but they can't continue. That person can say, I can't go on right now, and at a time that's convenient for you, you can go by yourself and travel to the town, city, or village, go to whatever shops and locations you'd like to, roll for yourself, and it's on the honor system. You're not cheating anybody yourself. It's a role play game. That's the rules for the game. Do know that that I do plan to redo these in its entirety so that it's just more organized and more structured. So these will change. They'll be a little more understandable, and the order in which they appear hopefully will, again, just to be a little more structured. Announcements. The announcements channel is mainly used for just letting everybody know what updates are going on with the mod. I hope to keep it current. Right now I'm working on trying to get as many models, 3D models, into the game as possible, as well as to get some of the regular characters into that little chest on the end. Also know that there will be a video tutorial on the mod itself for new players or people not familiar with the mod, and then there'll be another one on the mod for the additional more advanced rules that get layered on top of it and where to find those rules and those assets within the mod itself. Next one is our tavern. Tavern is just for general chat, whatever you want to talk about, any conversation, anything of that nature is the tavern channel. So next up, and these are the next two, these are the most important. So we have our games and we have our guild member resumes. As far as games go, any member can play a game and can host a game. You don't have to be a host to host a game. If you're wanting to set up a game anytime in the future, in other words, it's not a spur of the moment, hey guys, I've got 15 minutes, I can start a game for the next 3 or 4 hours. If you're wanting to say, oh yeah, Friday night, I'd like to host a game because I'm available, go ahead and post it onto the jobs channel. So first we have here looking for game. This is for anybody who's not ready to host or what have you, but that can be available at some specific time. Like I'm on Sundays. Sundays are good for me. Just about any Sunday is good. You just simply put up there, hey, I'm looking for a game, I'm available on Sundays. And hopefully, once we have 4 or 5 or 6 hosts, for those that haven't been able to find a game, a host will try to take the time and make the time to be able to put up a game that will fit what people are specifically looking for. So that's the Looking for Games channel. Then we have the Jobs channel itself. Okay, if you want to put a game up in the future, like I said, this is where you would put it. Do so is very, very easy. I've already made a little Jobs Input channel template. So all you have to do is copy and paste, and I've got a really bad hurt finger here, but we're going to try to show you how to do that very quickly and very easily. So you just come in, copy paste the entire post, the entire template, go over to the jobs channel, and in the jobs channel, paste it in. Now, under type, there's lots of different ways to play Warhammer Quest. 3 different types are to play it just like a regular board game, where your characters go in, you play through it. Any members that are living at the end of the adventure, you count up how much gold you have, and the person with the most gold wins. The standard type play is where you get to keep your character, and you can travel to towns and to the guild and back to other adventures and keep that character from adventure to adventure. The third way is really more of a role play way, where in which you actually have a GM that will guide you through the game. In standard type play, it's an event deck that is in essence the GM or the dungeon. So to do so, first you select what type of it is. So let's just say it's a standard type game. Then the number of players. So usually I put max 5, but you can put as many as you'd like. I think the game itself has enough for 6 to 8 players, so you can have 6 to 8 at the same time. I will say once it gets past 4 or 5, it can get a little hectic, so if you're not used to hosting, just be aware of that. When? Then just simply put the time. Like if you wanted it to be Saturday, February, um, and then the time. So 1 p.m. and then make sure that you put your time zone in here. So for me, it's 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, U.S., United States. That lets others know, since we have people all over the world in all different kind of time zones, what that might relate to them. The expected duration, if it's a really long one or a short one, etc. So you might put 4 to 5 hours. Okay, new guild members welcome. What this simply means is that if you want anybody to be able to join your game, you would just put yes. New guild members are welcome. When would a new guild member not be welcome? There may be people who want to set up games that have already designed the game for level 4, level 5, or level 6 characters, etc. And right here they could say that, minimum requirements, you need to be a level 4 character to join this game. So your host, of course, you would put whatever your name is. So I am Fly and Dad. And then the character requirements for this one would be none, of course. This is where you would specify if you need level 3 characters or level 4 characters, or all dwarves or all wizards. Could you imagine that? All wizards, right? Talk about messing with the chaos winds in a dungeon. And that's it. So then you could post it. You would go to post. You hit enter. It posts the game. This bot, I'm telling you, I'm getting rid of this bot. It's annoying. But you go ahead and post your game, and then like your game. So you do the little thumbs up over here. And then anybody that wants to come in as they're looking, if they're interested in trying to join a game and they see yours posted and they'd like to join it, all they have to do to join it is also click the thumbs up button and they'll show up there. So once it's up to, for instance, this one says max 5 players. Once the thumbs up button is at 5, you know that game's full. You really wouldn't be able to join. Of course, you could ask the host, can you take one more, and see where it goes from there. But once that's posted, and you play the game, it's the responsibility of the person who put it up here to come back in after the game and just do a little housework, just do a little bit of cleanup. So you would come back in to your game, you would edit the game, edit message, and at that point you would say completed, and you would say whether it was successful or not. You would say who the players are. So you could say at whoever played in it. So you could say at, well, like Goombay with, and then just put what their character was. With Conan, comma, at, who's the next player? Wild Bill. So at Wild Bill. And let's say Wild Bill brought, I don't know, Lisa with him. So Players, you put in the player's name by using the @ symbol, and then the adventure type. The adventure type is what the name of the adventure was. Use double asterisks here, so you just put in 2 asterisks, and then whatever the adventure was. Destroy the tomb. And then another 2 asterisks, and that will bold it. Then you could write in any additional things. Lisa died, killed by Chaos Wizard. And then save it. As you can see, now the players show up. The adventure, Destroy the Tomb, shows up in bold. And the reason why you do that, as you're going through here, it's easy to see, oh, Hero Awakens, Destroy the Tomb. You can see which one was played. So that's how you input your games into the games channel. So lastly, we have special guild missions. Now, special guild missions is for GMs who are interested in doing a role-play type of game, and they would still post it in the jobs channel. For instance, there's one up here called Death Below Karak Asgal. That's the one in the back of the role-play book. And anybody that wants to join that can, but in the special guild missions, that's where the setup for the GM type game would go. For instance, right here you see Death Below Karak Asgal and Malte Otto, who is the guild manager. You'll become familiar with him. He has a mission, a special mission, and these are the details of the mission. Basically, the setup for the story to go into the GM game. It's important to note that if you have a character that joins a GM game, they cannot play in standard type games until they've finished the GM game. The GM games are usually longer. They're campaigns. They usually take 3, 4, or 5 sessions. So when you sign up for one of those, you're basically agreeing to be there at the same time for a certain length of time. And again, we try to keep them short, max 6 sessions or so. And any advances that a character gets in a GM game still counts. So you still put them in over on the character section, and they can still go into standard type play games, etc. So next we have the characters section. So this is important. This is where you're going to store your characters. Now, if you're a new player or you have a new character, there's no reason to go ahead and set them up here. You can if you want, which is fine. I think, as a matter of fact, we got a new one from Dat Orc Boss. He's got an Ogre Warrior going. I'm excited to play with him. But that's not necessary yet, and here's why. Basically, within the guild framework, we're basically going to say that if you've never played before, if you have a very first character that's never even been through a dungeon, you'll go into the mod, you'll play through the game just like it were from the core set. There are no additional rules added, so it's pretty tough, which is sort of the challenge, if you will, that the guild gives the member to become a member. If they can make it out of an adventure alive and get back to the guild alive, then they can become a member of the guild, in other words. Once that's taken place, once that character has finished going through a dungeon, gone to a town or city, and made it back to the guild, take that character, come over here, and input that character into the guild member resumes section. You'll notice that there are different levels, and you'll have a level sheet with each character. There's level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. And for each level, there's a different title that character gets. So as soon as you're finished with you're level 1 to start, which is a novice, and as soon as you go to level 2, you become a champion, for instance. So if your character is a novice character, you would go into the novice channel. That's where you'd post novice characters, champion characters in the champion section, etc. To do so, once again, there's a character input template here where you can simply go in, copy, paste. It's very specific as to what goes where, and when you post it with your double asterisks and everything, it should come out looking like this one right here. So we have a Dwarf Brewmaster. His name's Grimnard. He's level 1, wounds 13, gold 0. A little quote from the character: "That blasted elf stole my kill." And then add a photograph. And there's specific instructions on how to do that right up here. And when you're done, you'll have it come out like Bert the Wizard came out pretty good. Here he is. Here's Bert the Wizard. He's a wizard. Bert, level 1, wounds 10, gold 54, power 6. Since he's a wizard, there's some special stuff, and under special I put his spells. Now, you don't have to put each piece of treasure he has or what have you, just pertinent information. And you can continue to update your character as he moves through levels and as he gains additional abilities by simply editing the post and then changing it and then saving the post. So he has successfully completed Maneater from the core set. Bert has successfully completed Desecration from the core set. He failed when he went on the Adventure Sacrifice. They did not make it. They did not succeed. But he did live. And that he's currently available. So for instance, over here on Champion, you can see a character I've got, Ugtrick Hellmark. He's wounds 18, 1288 gold. A little quote from him. Something special, he carries the Enchanted Shield, which is a fantastic objective room treasure. He gets +3 on his toughness, which is just fantastic. So I thought that was important enough to mention here. He's succeeded at several. He has failed at the goblet. We didn't make it. He had to watch one of his best friends become destroyed and liquefied basically by a vampire. Popped out at the last second, just tore him to shreds. So even though he's back at the guild, he's currently unavailable because he's mourning the loss of his questing companion, Gareth the Ice Wizard, from Kislev. So that's how the character resumes channels work. That's where you'll keep your resumes. I strongly recommend, if you're a player, that you, particularly a new player, that you go ahead and get 3 or 4 characters going. So as soon as you have a character finished, the next time you play, don't necessarily use that same character. Start with a different one so that you have 3 or 4 going, because after all, this is the Warhammer world. Your characters will die. Obviously, the goal is to get your character all the way up to Lord, have him become as wealthy as he can possibly be, purchase a castle or a keep, and retire from the game. Become part of the Warhammer world as an NPC. And then lastly, of course, we have a channel over here for the deceased characters, and here's where you can see a little obituary for Gareth, the Ice Wizard. May he spend his days on the battlefield with Sigmar at his side. Okay, so over here, next section is the guild shops and locations section. Here is where, once you've reached a village, town, or a city, don't be discouraged if it didn't go so well, or if you reached a village and you weren't able to find things in stock. Once you get back to the guild in Altdorf, that's where the guild's located, largest city in the Warhammer world, there are shops and locations in and around the guild very close by, and you are allowed to visit up to 4 guild locations. If you look right here, you may only visit 4 guild locations between jobs unless the location rules state otherwise, and there are several on here that say you can come back as much as you want. I'm not going to go through all of these individually, but I definitely encourage you to take a look at them. I'm pretty excited about this section because what it'll enable your character to do is differentiate itself from another character in a pretty large way. In other words, you could have 2 level 4 barbarians, and they play completely differently based on what you did and how you developed your character, depending on where you went and what you did while you were at the guild between jobs. So even a loan shark. For instance, we'll open up one as an example. The Enchanter. He's a great one. So we have an Enchanter who works for the guild and works for the guild exclusively. Our Enchanter is a very busy man. He reflects some of the best values in Altdorf and fortunately works for our guild exclusively. And each one, the Enchanter can do different things depending on what materials you have available for him. He can enchant armor and weapons and crowns and jewels and earrings, and here's one for the necklace. And you just go through, just as you would any other type of settlement event, find out what happens, and of course notate it in your character sheet. Lastly, down here we have some Warhammer Quest information. This is just general links and info about Warhammer Quest, other Discord servers, a time zone converter, so you can easily find out if somebody has put up a game and they're in a different time zone. You can find out what that means to your time zone. Some information on the various characters that are available. Like I said, some great sites. I highly recommend you go and visit and join the Little Monks Rune Board, as we will be playing with Little Monks rules. Those are the more advanced rules. Then we have some video information just about Warhammer Quest in general, and we have some tutorials on Tabletop Simulator if you're just getting into Tabletop Simulator on how to operate and manipulate the basic controls so you can fly around within the simulator a lot easier. And then let's see. This section is for hosts. We're going to have a video for hosts. I'm also going to put up pretty soon in the announcement section a large paragraph about hosts, hosting, and I'm going to try to recruit some hosts. I'd like to see 4 or 5 guys that are willing to at least play 1 or 2 games a month and put up a couple of games a month so that everybody can come in and hopefully find a game within their time zone that they can play. And then it's helping tutorials. This is a section just for chat, and of course we have our voice channels. I think that about wraps it up. If you have any questions, of course, don't hesitate to direct message me or just get a hold of me in the tavern. Anytime I'm here, I try to monitor it. And you guys, great adventuring to you. Thanks a lot.